Hello, how's it going? It's Dark Blizzard 960, and today we're gonna make the chat box for StarCraft 2 editor, since there's none that would show you this. So, I've created a notepad of what we have to do in order to get this done. It's actually pretty simple when you understand trigger editing, and so yeah, this is a reference of what we're gonna make over here. So we're just going to use this for reference. So let's just disable this, and we're going to create our own over here where it says tutorial. Alright, so first thing we have to do is create a record. So right click, hit new, and then find record. You could title it this will contain all the variables, but it's where it stores all variables in one, so it's not all crowded with all the variables everywhere. So let's call it Chatbox variables. No. Okay, you can name it Chatbox variables. I'm gonna name it Chatbox variables T for tutorial. Alright, so what we need to do here is create new variable, Chatbox dialog. This is what's gonna contain the dialog that will be used for the chat box. We'll create a chat box dialog item. You could actually, let's see, dialog items. You could actually set an array if you want, where you want to put more items in it, but all we really need is just one, so we don't need a check array. Alright, and there was, oh yeah, the text and integers. Alright, message is gonna store what the person says, and we're gonna create a, what was it? Shoot, I keep forgetting. Alright, select's gonna be the person, no, not the person, it's gonna be the row of line that it's gonna focus the chat on. As you'll see, we'll get to that here. Alright, so we created the record, so that's done. Alright, also change it to internal. Right click and hit internal. Alright, done with that. Next we have to create a record variable so you could actually select it. So right click, hit new variable, outside not inside, so call it Chatbox variables T. Change this to record right up top, and it's gonna be, yeah, it's selected already, but if you have multiple, if I enable this, you'll see that it's not letting me oh yeah, I forgot, enable this too. Turn this off. Alright, now see, you could select multiple records, but we don't need that right now. There you go. Alright, also suggest saving this multiple of times. So yep, that's done. Also change it to internal. After that, new trigger. This is the trigger I was talking about, which focuses chat. So right click, new trigger, focus chat. I'll call it focus chat just so it doesn't get confused. New so chat max, so whenever somebody types something, leave it blank and partial, so it selects each one that says that gets selects each message that gets typed out. And then we're gonna use select, as I said. So we're gonna create the local variable select. So new variable, we're gonna select, Uh, so we're gonna count the items in the chatbox variables. So go select. I actually like calling it. Oops. I like calling it local. So then you know where it is. Select local select. It doesn't update. All right. 2 dialog count of list items of last. Wait. Yes. Oh no, of chat box items. Sorry. Alright, this is new for me also, but I saw it interesting, so this should help you out also. So it's gonna count list items using the local variable. It's gonna equal the count of list items, chatbox variables t, which goes back to here, and then it selects the items that we made also in the record for 1. It doesn't need to be like every player, it just needs to be 1. So this is where it gets to select the item. So I like to go there. Select list item, select item, and here it is, local select for the chat box. Or for the dialog actually, even though we're creating a chat box. Chat box dialog items, and yeah, there's a 0 here because I put an array there, but you don't need an array, so you can ignore the 0 right here. And we're gonna turn off the trigger, and I got this confused with another one. So trigger off, current trigger off, and this is not supposed to be that. This is supposed to be a periodic event. I like setting it on real time, but or shoot, or not. Hold on. What did I set it here? I put L01. At times when doing this, you lose focus on what you want to do and then you forget. Alright, so technically we're done with focus chat. Make sure it's internal also. Internal. Perfect. Alright, see how fast we're on number 4. So we're going to create an action definition which we can use multiple times. So new action definition, call it, this is where it's gonna initialize the chat box. So I'm gonna name it initialize chat. Initialize chat. So I'll show you what's over here. So what's gonna be here is the size. This will relate to the start chat box. So here is where it's gonna create the panel and everything needed. So first we can just create the perimeters. So right click, perimeter, preset, and it should say, I forgot what I was looking for. Anchor. Here you are. Anchor to the bottom left. So this will relate to the start chat box, as I said. You'll see what I mean, but these are the settings that it's going to be set to. So we could call it anchor, because so like if you change these, it won't affect the actions that we made. So we can create new perimeter. This is gonna be size X, as you saw here, size X, and it's gonna be an integer, and the offset. So you'll understand. See, it's right here. So Size X, I'll just use what I have because it gets like you can customize it to whatever you want, but mine seems fitting. I'll just copy and paste because you have to just do the same thing over and over again. So see, you just do right click, integer, integer. The names are just different, integer, integer. See, so just do the same, and then like 900, 300, negative 15, and 0. So that's for that. Now, I believe we can start making the dialog. Yeah. Alright. So, dialog. Create dialog. Alright. So, this is where we put these into play. Perimeter. Size X. It's going to be size Y. At offset X. And offset Y. Boom. And that's that. Now we have to create a variable to select this specific dialog. So chatbox variable, and we are gonna use chatbox dialog, not items, because this is actually the dialog, and as you can see, this is dialog item. So dialog items is what goes into it, and dialog is just the main outline of it. Value preset function that's created dialog. That should be that. Now, this part is where we're gonna hide the background, because you'll see like a background to it, but you can keep this if you want a background, but you can't see it transparent, which I would not recommend. So what I do is hide the background, and then we're gonna create the list item. Where are we? Alright. Dialog. Hide back. No. I hate it when it does this. Background. Where are you? There you are. Alright, so hide background. I'd recommend just like setting everything to the specific background. Yeah, so it selects this one, which is this. So it's gonna hide the background. Then we're gonna create the item. Now, the list item. So what you do is go to dialog. No, not add list item, but create dialog item. And it's gonna be list box for this dialog. So once we do that, we can then ignore the names, even though it may confuse you. Okay. So now this is where the item comes in, and I'll just copy and paste this because this can be slightly difficult to find. Alright, so these are red because I disabled all that, so don't worry. So pretend this is new. Ignore that. Alright, ignore